America, that Gunjis, they call it brain yoga.
Brain yoga.
Whatever.
So when
Yoga.
when you hold your ear like this, there is a marma point here, right?
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
pressure point, like what happens? What's the connection?
When you hold the ears and then pull it in the angle, you are basically connecting to the lymph nodes, which are, I think, 28 to 30% lymph nodes are in the neck region. So the whole thing is going to kickstart your blood flow. Everything is going to be very fast. So if you do 21 Gunjidlu, you're activating most of your blood supply and everything starts. So you know the body gets that you are ready to go. Yeah, that's why quick exercise is that. So whenever you want to go somewhere outside, people go to Ganesha idol and then do 3 gunjis and then go out, and that is the logic.
So there is this 21 number is also a very is a significant number. I've heard this number 21 in lots of places when I've read. So what is special about this number 21?
No, these are all cultural and practically, empirically understood things. This is basically 7, doubles of 7, triples of 7. See, 7 is culturally in our country is Sapta Ragas, 7 days, 7 planets, 7, all these 7 rishis and 7 colors. You know, these are all based upon natural observations, and they are converted into numbers. They are converted into numbers so that when you actually go to a temple, you take 7 rotations, and then you, all these things are connected to our cultural practices. They do not mean anything in its true sense. But then over a period of hundreds and thousands of years, by practice, they find it very useful. So that's how they gain the significance and become scientific. So 21, in fact, according to me, 21 kilometers is basically a peripheral. I mean, if you take 21 kilometers of the range from the central point, in a natural setup, things are supposed to be available for a sustainable living. You know, all that you need can be available, should be made available in 21 kilometer range. What it also means is that if you can hold water, rainwater, in the 21 kilometer range, there is enough water for the people and animals and fauna and flora to live in a sustainable way. And you can extend it to beyond 3 times 73 kilometers. Then the range becomes too big for a normal human being to manage. But because we have added in technology and we are screwing up, making everything centralized. So that's 21 for you.
I think we need like lots of time, but I know we're going to respect this one now that you've given us. So we're going to start jumping right away. So thank you for joining, Dr. Khader. We really appreciate it. And but for those of you who don't know Dr. Khader, I'm going to give you a very brief introduction. He is known by lots and lots of people worldwide now. And my journey with him, just to give a little introduction through my connection with him and how it started. I had been reading lots of books on health written by lots of doctors, specialists, just looking at research, just because I just think prevention is the best medicine, just as our tradition, coming from our own tradition, culture. And so there were these prescriptions given in the books, diets, recipes, but they were always packaged with a long list of supplements. And I spoke with some functional doctors, practitioners who are fulfilling their major need, so everybody was talking about how toxic everything is. And, we need to go and eat fresh food, but at the same time, we need to have all this list of supplements. And so it was like the numbers were just too mind-boggling and totally out of range and totally out of reach from a common person. And then I heard Dr. Khader that one December, like almost a year ago now, a little more than a year, and everything, all the bulbs popped in my head. he made everything just fall like a puzzle, like a child's puzzle. Everything just fell in place. And I saw that whatever he was saying made so much sense. And he connected our health. Everybody was talking about human health in the books that I was reading, but he made that connection of our health to the health of the planet. We were all aware of how the climate change, the climate crisis, but there was no connection ever made for us, for the common person. And he just did that in that 1 hour, 2 hour talk. Everything was like crystal clear to me. And I couldn't sleep that night. I was awake the whole night and I was like, oh my God, Dr. Khader, I have to meet him again. I have to go back. And somehow that connection was established. And I'm so grateful to God for that. I'm grateful to him. I'm grateful to Dr. Khader. And that's what the intention is, to bring this connection, to make this connection happen with every one of you who's online at this moment. And there are so many people who are reaching out to Dr. Khader and making that connection happen. And the more people he touches, the better it is going to be for everyone. So thank you, Dr. Khader. And today's talk we've selected is again related to navigating. So food, reading about food all the time. America, it's interesting that all the diets that we read about have come out from this country. And all the practices that have flung far worldwide in terms of growing food, agricultural techniques, practices, and food industry have also come from this country. So it's ironic that all these diets, prescriptives are coming from the same source, the origin, whereas cultures and traditions which go back thousands of centuries, there's nothing nothing that we hear about, from them. They are the source of knowledge, yet there's nothing coming from them. And Dr. Khader is making that happen now, So he's going to help us understand these diets, all the diets that we have here about in terms of remedies, in terms of healing and solving our problems. What are they, like why they have come about? They are helping people. Yes, we hear about people being helped, but what are they really complete in themselves? Can we depend on them? And the questions will rise as he starts. So we'd love to hear you, Dr. Khader, talk about these Atkins, keto, zone, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, whole food plan, blood type, eating by blood type also, raw food, and then finally intermittent fasting. So help us navigate this whole categories. And why are we've lost, we don't know how to eat or what's going on.
Yeah. No, that shows the complications of human existence, basically. And we, in the name of technology and science and so-called progress, we have been complicating our lives. So when you see there are so many things, actually most of things fall into place. It's just that they are missing some links here and there. And everyone is confused, as you said, and we're all trying to tread this network of God's creation, trying to reach the whatever you call the zone. It's not a central point. See, we are all searching for a zone where we are all comfortable, and it is very exciting times, according to me, that people are actually finding ways and means and paths to reach this comfortable zone. And I'm happy about it because people have recognized that they are not in a comfortable zone right now, despite the top layers of being comfortable with these technologies and all that. So I personally believe that it has happened a little late, according to me, but still, nevertheless, it has started. The movement has started. So hence, different people, different places. I do not agree with you to start with that America is the place where everything is starting and everything is going on. And that is the sad story of human race right now, because we are living in a time zone where everything is centralized, and these concepts of centralization are actually the peril for the human race. And I hope the world and the so-called intellectual vacuum now that is available present right now in the human system evaporates soon, so that these centralized thought processes have to be eliminated, and there should be room for diversity. And I personally am happy that that is at least symbolically played out in the last 2-3 days in your country. Biden coming up as holding baton for diversity and all that. So I am glad, even in that political domain, whether it translates into real action of diversity over a period of next 4 years or not is a question to be answered. But at least in the thought process, at least a powerful country's president talks about diversity, it means something to start with, at least. I have my own doubts about whether it translates into real action. But all said and done, actually it is a very funny observation, because see, all these things are gained attention and focus in your country. It's not that Mediterranean food system has come from American thinkers or American practitioners. It is that when an American, actually it's a very important point. When an American,
no, what I meant was that the flawed systems are supplanting. They're spreading. In the last 100 years, they've uprooted the local traditions. And by America, I mean West, after the World Wars. After the World Wars, the Green Revolution, so-called India, they came from here. So the flawed practices have gone all over the world from, unfortunately, the West, and supplanted the local traditions. And now they are talking about correcting them in terms of these diets, right? So
that's what I'm also trying to mention, that this point is very important, because these processes define the way we move forward. How is it happening? Why is it happening? I'm trying to analyze and put in front of the audience, because if you understand this process, the rest becomes very easy. And these processes of attention, focus, all that is done by West. Okay, I like the word West rather than Americans. The West. See, this is the problem with all other cultures, other places, because they are not in a place or in a point or in a position to dictate the terms to the world. And these Western countries after the World War, due to the science and technology, and this is the point I'm trying to communicate. I'm not trying to tell anything about what you have said, but why is it happening? You said, why is it happening? And even if a fellow like Khader sits in a corner village, or a person from Mexico, or a person from Brazil, or a person from Australian tribal areas proposes something, that doesn't gain importance, because the human consciousness right now on this planet doesn't even acknowledge that something valuable and something priceless can come from different parts of the world. And that is what I'm trying to communicate to you guys, that it is the centralized thought process, that if anything can happen, it has to happen from West. And that is the sad story of present time zone. And because of the physical technologies, the technology of the physical world, be it MRI, be it CAT scan, be it a missile, be it whatever you call the present today, smartphones, and we are able to connect from here to there. All these things are all, dazzling the human mind, and people fall prey for it. And when you come to understand the biological systems, your biases, your kinds of being partial towards will not work. In the physical domain, it works because you make it happen. You choose, you take sides. You can take the technology that is convenient for you and forget the technology, but nothing damages you. In the physical world, you can go on establishing the dominance of your technologies, money, and because you are first in the place, you start controlling everything. And that's how this missile technology and the so-called war technology and all these things are playing a big role in controlling the so-called Sensex, the financial markets. And so the whole thing is now turned into finance, and the economic model is ruling the world. So why are we to look at America for a solution that is actually so individual? That for me to be healthy, I don't need America. I don't need missiles. I don't need these phones. I don't need all this stuff. What all I have to do is, now I can tell you, for Corona, all are running hither and thither. And things are actually connected to a small virus. How do we protect it from virus? What happened to your missiles? What happened to your MRIs? What happened to? And even today, you guys are all talking about vaccines, rolling it out, mRNA technology, this technology, because here biases are there. Because you still think it is the technology that helps you, and it's not going to help you. The internal immunity is dependent on purely three simple things: vitamin C, vitamin B, vitamin D. And in the name of white revolution, people thought that they are giving vitamin D to the whole human race. They are dumping vitamin D in milk and then say fortified milk with vitamin D, vitamin E, all these kinds of things. But they have not understood. Rather, they have been conveniently not looking at the fact that vitamin D supplied through milk is not helping the human race. The supplement business became a business, but not biologically strengthening the species. See, this is what I mean by, in biological terms, in biological words, you cannot suppress and choose the technologies that you like. It may look it is helping you to start with, but then at the end of the day, it is each individual's health which has to be gauged and quantified, and that's what matters. And you cannot bring about health of all the people suddenly. Suddenly you cannot do it. You got to work on individual basis. So it is the biological principles that have to be handed over every country, each and every area, each and every zone, now they are trying to roll out this mRNA based vaccine, which is such a stupid thing. Please excuse me for this expression, because see, it has to be stored at -70. And can you believe that it can be done? How can you have the vaccine transported to every place with -70 degree centigrade technology, liquid nitrogen? What kind of brains do we have? So if you see, they are all working in terms of economic model. Oh, yeah, we can make money. See, instead of helping each other, the basic focal point of the operations is based on money. That's the sad story of human race right now. So the simple thing is, you need to tell people what to do, how to be immune strong. So according to me, I can give you the simple suggestion. All the Americans, please go out in between 11 and 1 o'clock, sit in the sun, whatever little sun you get. The real vitamin D gets into your body. And if possible, apply some coconut oil or whatever natural oil that you have. Don't apply these refined oils that you're packing in your sachets, plastic sachets. That's not going to help you to get vitamin D for you. So you see, these are the informations that the constitutional, they have to become a policy matters. And no one needs money for this. And everyone has to eat the raw foods for some time. Then the microbiome in your body gets strengthened, or fermented foods, khameer, that fermented porridge. So you just spread this word all over the world. People can make this, whatever carbohydrate and fiber is available. You don't need to provide them anything. Everyone has, even today, these materials available naturally. And what all you need is small amounts. And if you sit one day in the sun, you get vitamin D for 4 days, 5 days. That's all. I mean, this simple thing. And vitamin C, you need to immune strong to be. And all the SOAR products in each and every country, even today, are available. You may have lemon, you may have orange, you may have imli, you may have all khatti stuff, all super SOAR things are available in each and every area, in Africa, in South Africa, in New Zealand, in Australia. What else you want? This is all that you need to fight this stupid corona, which is actually very inefficient. You are falling like leaves, dry leaves in the Europe. And you need to become immune strong, not rolling out vaccine protocols. You are going to get out. In the same way, different methods of Atkins, paleo, all this. So we're not to find fault with these methods and diet plans. See, diet means you are trying to come out of a particular diseased condition. So we need to look at things as a whole. As you pointed out in your first introduction of me, that there is a connection to everything, to the planet's health, to your health, to fauna and flora. So we all have to understand that there is an inherent connection to everything that we are running around, to the times, to the place, to the environmental conditions. Everything decides our health. So we have screwed up the environment. We have made the global warming happen. And it is our job and it is our responsibility to get back to the natural systems. And to create the natural systems, luckily, you don't need, of course, technologies do help if we travel in the right path. And you see, the vaccines is the most stupidest thing that human race can decide to do. And that's what the whole planet has decided to do. Can you believe that our government is also rolling out big vaccine programs?
Yeah,
And
apparently there are local vaccines, some India.
local vaccines. And these vaccines are so funny, so funny. I can only use the word funny. See, each vaccine is different, and because each technology is different, and they believe, one group believes that, oh, you kill the virus and then develop the vaccine. And another technology, because I can make mRNA and then do that, I can have mRNA vaccine technology. And what if the corona is just laughing at us and say, hey, okay, God, that's fine. I will just change one protein. So what happened? Your vaccines, they don't work. And to figure out whether it works or not, you need time, another 1 year. So it has already, I believe there are 23 strains already. Though all of them are not pathogenic, few of them are going to turn out to be more efficient pathogens. So what will you do? You go on chasing these strains? The simple logic is you becoming strong, for which you don't need any money. What you need is only information to be spread, which can be easily done in the present day time zone. That's what I mean by using the technology in the right sense. So we all have this information, and that's what we are trying to do, sitting in a corner of small village in India, trying to spread the information so that people are empowered to make themselves immune strong. And we believe these three aspects, if you manage, everyone, in 3 weeks, you become immune strong, not 3 years. Just to test a vaccine, you need a minimum of 3 years. And now government is making policies, rushed policies, and giving permissions for completely not tested technologies. And how unscientific can we become? The logic is that it is an extraordinary emergency case, so we are giving permission. So where is the science in this? Where is science here? Science is thrown out of the window.
So just so that's true. But just to enable better understanding of vaccines, since we've crossed into vaccines, I thought that'll come a little later, but that's fine too, because food and immunity are connected, right? So that's there.
That's
But
the point.
what's the Dr. Khader, explain, because you're a bioengineer, right? So explain to us, what does a vaccine really do? Like, for example, vaccines have supposedly gotten rid of smallpox, measles, and chickenpox to a large extent. So everybody, all the doctors, they'll say, oh, we've gotten rid of diseases. We don't know, because we can say that because we don't know what it is to endure and suffer those diseases, right? So
No. See, there is of course, this goes to technical discussion. But your question is leading us into two technical aspects, because there are two things here: whether these diseases are eliminated or have they transformed into different things. Already, you are finding 2-3 strains. Am I right? Which are pathogenic. In the same way, many of these small viruses keep changing. So it's not that you have eliminated, just that they have decided to go away. Very simple explanation. I mean, for the result that they are claiming credit can be looked at, viewed at. That's what I said. In a biological world, it's different. It's different. So the technologies are only a learning point, and you can start. See, if that were to work, why is it not working for corona? Because the technologies we developed for a long period of time. We don't have a good vaccine for HIV. We don't have.
that's
Am I
right.
right? So we have failed, but this centralized system keeps claiming the credit and showing off and picking what is required for their convenience. And that's what is happening all over the world, in the biological world also. We
And
are trying to fool ourselves that it has worked.
yeah,
If it
it's
has worked, if it has, we have learned lessons, then all these viruses should have been completely understood. We are not able to understand, because we are trying to understand each virus at a time.
right.
Each virus at a time, not only each virus at a time, each strain at a time.
Right.
So that is the, but our result needs to, see, I'm not saying what their understanding is wrong, but the objective of this study is to protect and immune strong. We need to do the work in a different peripheral reason. We have to choose a different circle. We are in a wrong circle doing work. This circle doesn't work. And if human race doesn't recognize that in the last 30-40 years we have done this mistake, and we continue to do the same mistake because the policies are decided by the economic model, not the ecological model.
Right.
And it is not that we are killing ourselves. We have killed a lot of fauna and flora on this planet because of these policies. So we need to become more wise. We need to become more empathetic. See, I have given you an example. Even today, these big countries, what I mean by the strong economically deciding companies and countries, are not bothered about people in Africa, where there is financially they are not strong. So it is for each one to take care of themselves. When will an American vaccine reach an African country? Will it? It will not. And sadly, other way around, if malaria hits America now, for some reason, you have no medicine. By the time you develop medicine, millions will die. See, you have completely neglected that aspect. And you think you can buy money? Then you have to depend on India making that and then supplying. So it is to best thing for every planet, every country is to share the information without holding. And this intellectual property rights, patenting, all these bogus things have come into place.
that is also true for what's called nutraceuticals.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Patented
Yes,
supplements.
yes. I guess we are going out of, but everything is connected. I'm happy to talk about all these issues. I'm very glad you asked these questions. They are all connected. And we are not doing science, we are doing politics. You see the clarity with which you have to go around when you deal with life forms on this planet. Life forms on this planet. So, again, coming back to original thing that the human race by now should have been vegetarians, because that is what veganism started with. Because it's not just that they're all having all kinds of kindness to all the animals. It is just that you have figured out that you are falling prey to your own bloodthirstiness, because it is creating diseases. And we have a lot of studies, animal protein being not able to be digested properly, the leftovers, the reminiscents, the proteins undigested are unlocking our genetic material and creating havoc in the right metabolic pathways are being screwed up in the system. And that's why you have carcinogenicity developed because of viruses, because of chemicals, because of various technological advances. You call this race. All these are reasons for carcinogenicity being, what I can use the word, astronomically increasing. Imagine just 180 years ago, cancerous conditions were very, very few. Now we have almost 30% of human race is endangered with carcinogenicity. Just 180.
So
we have increased.
Is not digested. It goes undigested in the human tract, digestive tract.
No. It's not like that. See, our acidity is not beyond 4 or so. But you say just check an eagle's acidity. It's, I think, up to 2. So when you have the initial acid rush, the protein molecules get broken down and further digestion. Not that we don't digest protein. We do. Animal protein is digested, but not our enzyme system. Our hardware is not suited for that. We are not designed to do that. And this is what is happening. And we are actually designed to protect from these various pathogenic bacteria through our immune strength. Instead, we're actually leaving the immunity and then pushing it through our mouth and pushing it through our blood. These pathogenic antigens. And we are creating some of them depending upon each individual's capacity. So eating the animal meat, even if it is 5%, 10%, say till 5%, it may be not causing so much damage because we are able to manage. So these are the lessons that we need to learn and then inform the public at large that this is the thing. So the sad story is that no diversified thoughts are not even considered. Now everyone thinks eating meat is very important because you need protein. As if protein is not available in the world otherwise.
And some of the, the paleo, I was reading a little about paleo diets also, and they say they give evidence in terms of what has been cited in the in the fossils of earlier human beings, what they could be eating. And they're saying that it is just like the feline species, the human species, the growth of the brain and the reduction of the digestive, the gut is similar, and it means that we are supposed to be eating, meat. So what kind of reasoning is that?
No, that's the same logic you can use, that our intestinal length, the long length is connected to, see, these are again biases. So instead we have to do simple experiments. And in fact, there are a lot of experiments just saying the other way around. When you eat animal protein, the carcinogenity increases, the sickness, the immunity goes down. All these results are there. And that's what we
Correct.
choose, convenience. For convenience sake, you choose. So, and when you see, it's not that there are no experiments. Why? Our Linus Pauling way back in 1975-80 clearly indicated that vitamin C is very important in fighting cancer. Where did that disappear? No one is doing any work on that. And only now I have been blabbering, shouting at top of my voice that vitamin C, vitamin B, vitamin D are very important for almost everything, and killing the microbes in your gut, which are actually working, the symbiotic bacteria and other things completely working in tandem with our living cells, which people have not given enough attention in the biological world. That work is completely incomplete. So, and how can you actually miss such an important connection?
Right.
And in fact, that is what I consider is the natural link for the human bodies to the outside world. And if you manage that relationship properly, and that is what we have come up with Ambali, Khamir, the fermented porridge, which actually has been the way of living for almost centuries in all parts of the world. You go to Nigeria, they take cassava and then make it into small grains, soak it overnight, boil it and keep it for 2 days, 3 days, and then they keep on drinking that. And that's what they got their connection to natural microbiomes in their world. And in India, umpteen diversified practices are there exalting this particular point of Ambali. We call Ambali, you call Khamir, and different kinds of Khamir, and the whole history and the books of our literature is loaded with this information. And you go to China, you go to Japan, even today, the barnyard millet porridge. And how did the soup come about? You know, all these so-called continental soups, basically they are the transcripts of the fermented porridge. And very simple. I mean, if you go back and read the history and the methods of the ancestors, you figure out all these things that you are doing. Everything has history. And just recently I heard a story, I don't know, from Italy. There was a small bakery. They're maintaining their 116 years old crot, or they keep incubating with to make bread, basically.
Right.
So all the why doesn't these aspects come into focus? They are not coming to focus. What all we are talking about is vaccines. Can you believe that in India, in a small village, people are talking about vaccines? How stupid can we get? Is the question. So we all need to be talking about how to make Khamir, how to make vitamin D. So what is the time and what is the posture of sitting in the sun that we get maximum benefit? So these are the things that we should be talking. And everyone knows, with all due respect to all these so-called technologies, everyone is clearly understood that supplements are not helping the human race. So why doesn't a scientist come out and talk about it clearly? I'm giving you direct examples. All over the world, they have fortified everything with vitamin D, including breads, including everything. Why is it that vitamin D deficiency is maximum on this planet Earth right now? Why are we not keeping 1 + 1 = 2? 1 + 1 becomes 8 in this particular aspect. Are we scientists? Who are paid crores of rupees in the labs of these pharmaceutical companies because they want to say what they want us to believe? And this is not science.
Yeah. They forms a subset of thinking which unfortunately is prevailing. So now with the change in the administration, hopefully we can get our voices there to the White House or to wherever in the right direction, to the right people, so we can include the voices that have been sidelined and squashed by, sidestepped so far. So
No, I don't believe that it can happen. We all need to educate ourselves. The educated has to educate the others. So take care of yourself and the people around, neighborhoods. This does not require policies. This does not require Biden. This does not require PM Modi. This does not. See, they do what they have to do. I care two hoots about all these things. Can you educate yourself? Can you educate 2 people around you, 10 people around you, and talk about it? And we have this so-called wonderful technologies to communicate. I mean, I love this phone. I love this, but that cannot be your tool to become sick. So
Right.
this realization has to come. So we need to use all the things that are under our purview to our convenience and our well-being. So technologies are there for all of us to help each other, and there is no need for technology. Can you go around and then talk to people and help 2 to 3 people? Of course, we are trying to do now, engaging ourselves in these discussions. I'm quite happy, but that's what we have been doing, and that's how these things can be done. And policies, to go to policy level, there are too many factors, and the only factor has to be the money, the economic model. So that's why I came very strong in the beginning of my introduction, that we need to stop centralization. So our approach should be decentralized, sharing, love and affection and information. So, and this is where you go beyond science. You go beyond science. So we all have to develop the science and art of living.
Also, we have to develop receptivity, because
Absolutely.
but you telling me, I will believe you first if I have a condition that I'm trying to find a cure for. I will be influenced by authorities, like what's the prevailing view on handling my condition, whatever it is, right? So I have to
That
have
is,
a choice now. Should I
yeah,
believe you or should I believe him? I am ignorant of both. So it comes to what I am receptive to and how I make sense and connections, right? So
that is called
going
science and
down
art of living.
yes,
Art produces that, and science gives you the information. So the science of and art of living has to be promoted. And see, many people believe Dr. Khader in India. Many people, because he has been at it for the last 20 years. He has been helping around. So, and he has nothing to gain. Absolutely. It has to be open and free and transparent. Okay, this is how it happens. This is how it happens. And I believe there are a lot of people trying to do their best. As you said, keto diet or paleo diet or fasting. This is what they believe. They have done some experiments. So everyone is right in their domains. And how do we transcend all this, get the information, and then translate it into practical living? And the sustainability factor is the most important thing.
right.
And I personally believe everyone can become sustainable if we start respecting natural resources. And the least you use and spend a day in a proper way, and we continue to add day by day in a sustainable living, and then the planet gets to a good state of being.
I think that's
So,
the key word here, sustainability. Even for
yes,
individuals, if we start with ourselves, is this a practice
yes,
or choice I'm making sustainable for me? And then
yes,
connect it. Is it going to be sustainable for
sustainable
the community I'm living in, the earth I'm
community.
living on?
Yes, yes.
So
So,
I
so that the opulent living of Western style, opulent, I call OPULENT, opulent living of Western style, first has to be discouraged, not by the West. They are used to it. As you said, they are used to it. We should not ape. Everyone should not think we all should have Mercedes Benzes and we all should have this. we all should start living a simple life. And that's where you fill the intellectual vacuum to come out of these practices, not to ape the West, to lead a sustainable, local necessities have to be fulfilled. Needs and necessities, not wants and demands.
Dr.
So,
Kader?
yeah, thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Sorry, yeah. Dr. Kader, this is Jayashree Vemuganti. You have raised a very interesting point, sir. I've been exclusively watching all your videos and stuff for the past 2 years and following a little bit. I do have a question though. Eating millets, you have cured so many people with chronic conditions with millets, but do the same principle work in US for the US climate?
Absolutely.
Should we go for some local foods that are? You have been always saying that eat local, right?
Yeah, I guess I've answered that question some time back already. These 5 grains that we have selected are both local as well as universal, and that is the biggest point that everyone has to understand. These 5 grains have been thoroughly researched. They are both local as well as universal. And that is the point. The point is that it happens that barnyard millet is known as Japanese millet, German millet, and Russian millet. Yes. And little millet is known as African millet. And kodo millet is known as actually Chinese, Himalayan, Tibetan, all these areas millet. And brown top, of course, is American millet. The American continent, even today, you go to Colorado, they are growing like mad, okay? So, but luckily for us, when we were looking for these kinds of food materials back when 1995, when I came back, 97 or so, it so happens that in our Western Ghats and the open areas and the streams and all that, these grains are grown even today in small villages of our southern India. It so happens all the 5 grains are available in just a matter of 300 to 500 kilometer range of southern Deccan Plateau. And that's the beauty. And so what I'm trying to communicate to you is that these are all local foods of different parts of the planet. And you go to pyramids, you see their mummies, their mouths, you have the evidence for I believe it is kodo millet or brown top millet. Yeah. And our Christ ate unleavened bread of, I think, brown top or foxtail millet. And foxtail millet is known as Italian millet. So what I'm trying to communicate is just not 5 millets. There are many more, actually. Many more. And we have given the characteristic of release of glucose to be slow and steady. And you can actually fish out another 5 or 10 more grains in the next few decades to give it to human race. So eating millets is both local and as well as universal.
So if we get, say, we have a store here in New Jersey, it's called Organic Millets. I believe they get stuff from India, southern part of India mostly. It's called Organic Spear. So if somebody who is in US, if they get thing from the store, do you think by climate wise and health wise, it would be okay for them to eat that? And
absolutely. No problem at all. Because if Americans were not to be influenced by these events of whatever have happened in the last 150, 300 years, they would have still been eating brown top millet or little millet. You understand what I mean? So they are local foods. So please go ahead and eat without any doubt, and you will feel the wellness. Absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe this is a question. Maybe I can take you offline. I have some news that I need to share to you, but I don't want to use this public platform. Okay. How would you like me to communicate? I have some information that I really need to share with you with regards to
sure. Let's have a separate meeting through Chavi Chawla. Connect to her and we will meet again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Actually, we would like to hear what is that information.
Dr. Kader Garu and Chavi ji and Raju Garu, this is Reddy from Hollywood. There are a lot of audience who are new in this call today. Dr. Garu, if you can kindly explain what these 5 millets are, how are they better than rice and other wheat? And also there are a lot of people who have questions. What kind of proportions these millets are cooked to have the best result, number 2. And number 3, there are a lot of people, even in the chat group, questions regarding the vaccine I know you have already told about vaccine, but if you can just give your perspective, whether people, what benefits if they have vaccine or responsibility also, please. So if you could kindly clarify these few things for new audiences in the group with Chabij's and Rajuji's permission. If Dr. Garu, if you can spare a few minutes on these topics, please.
It's up to Dr. Khader completely, but that's the basic information is there on YouTube, on my blog also, on my YouTube also, if you'd like to check that. But if Dr. Khader wants to answer, of course, it's totally up to him.
Yeah, just in brief, within 3-4 minutes, I would love to answer his question, because it is important that they have connected to us, and it is imperative and our job to inform them, or at least bring them up to, though not the whole story. Sir, it has been a 25-year story. I will try to summarize in 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So back when I was in America, I found a small girl, a 6-year-old girl, menstruating in an hospital, and they were not able to stop the bleeding for the girl. And then that's when I started being a scientist, researching why America, the girls were menstruating at the age of 6 to 10, 6 being maybe the lowest at that time. And I immediately connected to the fact that Americans for the last 20-30 years, this is back in 1987, okay, they were already fortifying the milk with all kinds of chemicals, as well as synthesizing, I use the word specifically, consciously, synthesizing milk using the HF or Jersey cows, which the research in the name of biotechnology and creating white revolution started introducing these hormones, both steroidal as well as proteinous hormones, into the bodies of the babies. And the baby's hormone imbalance started. And then people started menstruating early. And that's because of the societal conditions where women was actually trying to come out of the shackles of women liberation, that they have to work and all that. So all said and done, then I figured out that it gave me the kick start to watch and do work on all the things that are going to the human mouth since that particular point. So it came to me very clear and obvious that what all the human race by 1990 itself was eating a lot of wrong things, including rice, wheat, milk, meat. All these materials are not meant to go into our mouths because they release glucose, especially all the grains that we were eating, rice, wheat, sugar. And immediately the connection was made that because to produce these grains, we're actually damaging the planet Earth's soil fertility, because we were using fertilizers and pesticides in large quantities. And within no time, it came to me very clearly that the diesel industry, refinery industry is actually supplying the raw materials to the bombs as well as the fertilizers. Though bomb making came first and then the fertilizer industry came. And this all was happening at the time of chemistry evolving itself. Linus Pauling and such great salvers. And so being a scientist, being a bioscientist, I was able to connect all these things and then figured out that we are eating wrong things. So wheat was wrong for me, rice was wrong for me, because blood is being flooded with glucose when you eat these foods. And the glucose in large quantities disturbs our biological systems. So the essence of health, I understood, has to be release of glucose into the bloodstream in a slow and steady manner. And after realizing that aspect, I started looking at the ancient foods. Why were ancient people not ancient? Mean I'm not talking about millions of years ago, just 200, 300 years ago, actually. Then figured out that there were many grains that the human race was eating, and that's how I rambled all the names, barnyard millet is Japanese millet, foxtail millet is Italian millet. And then you can go back and see our Bible and unleavened bread. All these examples that I quoted clearly indicated that our ancestors just 400, 500 years. And so we're not eating rice and wheat at all, because to produce rice and wheat, you need special conditions. That is lot of water, lot of weather conditions and all that. So all that is actually developed because of fertilizer industries, and then green revolution, white revolution. All this economic model got evolved in the last 100 years. So clearly understanding that it is an artificial food that the human race is eating, and that should be the essence of all our ill health. So I started working 25 years ago that if you go back to the original ancient foods, our health should be all right. On that proposition, I started growing these grains and then started feeding all the sick fellows, HIV patients, diabetic patients, gangrene patients, BP patients. Lo and behold, in a matter of 6 months, hundreds and thousands are getting well. Well means real wellness. A fellow who could not put 3 steps could now climb mountains. That's the kind of wellness we are talking about. So since then, we have figured out these 5 grains, because of the fiber to carbohydrate ratio being the right ratio, that is single digits, can produce this miracles. The word miracle I am consciously using because we're in such a dire required condition that everyone is becoming sick. Now we have a path to make everyone well. It is not curing. We are making them healthy, from unhealthy condition to healthy conditions. And while doing all this, we have figured out, including, actually, I was the only fellow talking in my lectures about immunity for the last 15, 20 years, because I am aware of these infectious diseases, and we have to make ourselves strong, and only then you will be healthy. So if you go back to my literature, which has been spanning for the last 10, 15 years, I was talking about these infectious diseases, how to become immune strong, and Saptapatra Kashaya, all that, the local available leaves, you can gain the antigenic property. And that's how we were becoming. And we have been disseminating our environment such that our immunity is going low and low. So all these aspects I have talked for various lectures. And as Chavi Chawla can help you to go to these particular videos in the next few days, please do spend some time. We have produced enormous amount of information which is available freely on the net. Thank you. I hope I have briefly summarized what is required.
And Dr. Khader, going back to what the topic for this week, this webinar, all the diets that we've just talked about that prevail, which are in the fashion world now, it's like a fashion, is basically they talk of low carbs, cutting the carbs, and nobody, even though millet is known, has been around
Yes.
for so long, all these scientists, they don't seem to be aware of the millets, which is very, very surprising.
No, not surprising for me, because this is something which is complete for human race food. And if you choose this, there is no one to gain any money, because if everyone starts in the next 6 months producing these foods in their places and start eating, you will not be, you will be surprised that we all have to close all these hospitals soon. In next 2-3 years, you can close down all these hospitals. Absolutely unnecessary things can be just closed down. So people are aware of it. It's not that this upper echelons of the so-called scientists and pharmaceutical companies are not aware of it. They are aware of it. They know it. In fact, they have suppressed, they have removed these grains. Individually, I personally believe that these companies in their boardrooms have been planning to eliminate this wonderful grain step by step, very systematically from the planet, because they have been doing this. I know for sure that all the local foods, local materials, in the name of biotechnology, they actually say we will improve the yields. All these scientists, even today, that gibberish talk is going on. Oh, we will make more yields for bajra, and they will screw it up, because what all they do is, it's not that they are increasing the quality of the grain. It is that they are taking away the right of the farmer to produce the seeds, and then making some tinkling in the genetic material, they have this terminator genes, all these bogus things. They can take away, they can steal the right of the farmer to have the seeds in his hands. And that's how the whole world has brought into knees by this food politics, that if I want to grow my brinjal in my country, I need the permission from these so-called biotech companies. Already it has happened. In India, I cannot grow my own brinjal. My seeds are taken away from farmers. And that is the sad story of these tech companies. They are trying to centralize the food grains, and their genetic materials are being centralized. They want everything into their hands. And that's what I'm trying to communicate to people, that it is local and everyone can grow. Only we need the information. And that's why when some people ask me, we don't have leaves that you are talking about, Septapatra kasha. You need to figure out in America, what are the leaves that gives you antigenic property. In fact, one of my trips, I came and we did figure that out for American leaves. So you go to Canada, you need to figure out those antigenic properties of the leaves present in Canada. I go to New Zealand. It's a matter of 3 months. You can just figure that out and keep the information. So naturalists of different parts of the world have to figure these things out. And it is very simple. The rules are very easy. It is not rocket science. Fun is intended. Fun is intended.
We'll
Dr. Garu, thank you very much regarding the 5 millets, Dr. Garu. And one more follow-up question. If you can kindly, from your mouth, with the permission of Chaviji, if you can let us know the major 5 ailments which everybody faces, like diabetes, heart attack, skin problem, thyroid. What are these, out of these 5 millets, for the major 4-5 ailments, what is the best thing that they should have? A lot of people also want to know, what is the water to the millet ratio of these 5 millets that is best right for having the correct kind of nutrients for the ailments that they can get out of this 5 millets?
The last question I didn't get. The last
question is, Dr. Garu, for the major 5 ailments or 6 ailments, what are that one should use out of these 5 millets? For like diabetes, what is that? And
I got.
And the second one is, the people are cooking different ways, but a ratio of a particular millet to water will give you the maximum nutrients out that will cure your body ailments. The right ratio.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor.
All these 2 questions are answered very well in my protocol, which is available everywhere in almost 4 or 5 languages. And
want to hear from small Dr. Garu, from your own.
Okay.
That would be like a Vedam for everybody.
Okay. Actually, there is nothing like ratio, but there are 2 to 3 different ways of cooking millets. One thing is very important because of the structure of the grain, having the fiber and the carbohydrate very beautifully interwoven from the center to the periphery, and the peripheral lignons being very important. So unpolished grains become very, very important in especially helping the cancer patients, because the lignons have, of course, a lot of work has to be done further into future. Lignons are very, very important in making our bodies anti-carcinogenic. Whatever carcinogenicity is created by the present day unnatural foods can be cleaned completely by these millets, the upper layers of this fiber, which we should not lose. So the unpolished millets absolutely wonderfully clears up almost all the diseases that we have generated in the last 50 years. So when you take unpolished millet, soak them, and soaking is very important. And soaking releases the fibers into expanding and then allows the fiber to get cooked. So this raw food business does not go well with millets. You cannot eat millets raw, period. At least minimum of soaking is very, very important. So 6 to 7 hours of soaking the grains is a must, because that's the way it is designed. Absolutely. And people may come up with silly questions. So I grind the grain, I have flour, so there is no need for the water to seep in into the center of the grain. The whole flour is exposed. Still, the fiber has to absorb water and expand. Minimum of 1 to 2 hours is required, even if you have flour of the grain, because North people want to make chapati, roti, paratha. So you want, even if you have got the grain completely milled, the flour has to be also soaked for 1 or 2 hours. And just get back to the olden practices of making bread also, they rest the flour. They use the word rest the flour. Rest the flour, Resting the flour means soaking. The fibrous content of all the things have to be soaked and the water has to be absorbed. It takes time. It takes time. Because fiber is a complicated chemical structure. And the water molecules, though are going to be allowed, it requires time, because this hydrogen bonding, oxygen, nitrogen, they have to exchange their bonds in a matter of 15 seconds, 20 seconds doesn't happen. Some chemical reactions do happen that way if the electrons are very highly charged. But then the water is a very funny chemical. It is neither charged nor not having charge. So that hydrogen bonding makes it very special and it requires time. And that's why you want to cook slowly and with your own hands. And this is very, very important. Very, very, very important, because we are talking about the logic comes from the nature of things. Why water is like that, I cannot answer. It's God's grace that it is like that. So you cannot answer all the questions. Things have to be accepted. That is called nature. Nature is like that. Why water molecule has 104-degree angle between two hydrogens and oxygen? I do not know. I can keep coming up with some hypothetical. Oh, because this sp3 hybridization. Why is sp3 hybridization? So at certain point, you need to keep your mouth shut and accept that it is so. So I can go on digging and find, but then there will be a question left. So somewhere you have to stop and accept things as they are. And then the further logic can be built. Okay, so soak the grain, whatever your grain is, even if you are taking finger millet, soak it well. And the biggest mistake present today human race is making, even in India, is not soaking the grains, because people are already interested in ordering on Zomato or something, and they want ready-made to eat. So no one is bothered about making things the way you need to be making. Okay, so this is the first point. Soak the water, soak the grain for 5 to 6 hours if it is full grain. If it is suji, you soak 3 to 4 hours. If it is flour, at least minimum of 1 or 2 hours. And how much water, it doesn't matter. 1:10, you can make fermented porridge and then consume the whole water. Don't throw away, because now all the good things, whether it is vitamins or this or that, are all there now floating in the water. So don't throw away any water. No, I'm answering the question. This is very important. It's a good question. So it is not the ratio of the water. It is whatever water you have first washed and thrown out is gone. The remaining things, whatever amount of water you soak, all the water has to be utilized. If not in the same dish, you can use it in a different dish, but don't throw the water. So 1:10 is okay, 1:4 is okay, 1:2 is okay. Depending upon what you want to eat. I want to eat vegetable bath. I want to eat pulao, biryani. So you may want to reduce the amount of water, but soaking is very important. Soak with good amount of water, remove the water, drain the water, use the water in somewhere else, and you can make a dry kind of dish or completely watery dish like fermented porridge, or make roti. It doesn't matter, but don't throw the water away. So this is the technical aspect. And how do you want your dish to taste? How do you want your dish to feel? All that is left to local creativity and your choices. It doesn't matter at all. You can make any way you like. You can make mushy, you can make dry, you can make spongy. All that is left to your creativity.
Dr.
Thank you, Dr.
What
Khader.
we have been seeing is there are a lot of stores popping up left and right, saying that they are selling millets. They're from India, brought from somewhere. But how do we certify? What certification should we be looking for to say it's like not a polished kind? Because what they're saying is that there is some level of polishing that goes. So if we might
it has to be complete trust. It has to be a trust based. See, then you enter into technologies, then the certification, everywhere the cheating can be coming, everywhere the policy matters come. It is all trust. You have to trust the people. You have to, I know, trust is the last thing that you have right now.
Dr. Khader, I want to ask you a related question to this, and then we can go to a few more questions that people want to ask you. So the semi-polished, one of the stores here says they are selling semi-polished. So with the germ intact, with the outside brand removed, but the germ intact. Is that something which is acceptable? Which is okay?
Yeah, absolutely okay. Okay. See, only for cancer, you need the upper lignans, but all other diseases, diabetes, all these things are very simple. By BP, cholesterol, all this can be solved even with little semi-polished, but completely polished is not good.
Okay.
So what is hulled and what was the other one?
So, madam, hulled and husk, H-U-S-K, husk. See, removing the husk is called hulling, H-U-L-L-I-N-G. So, basically, proso millet is very easily available, I think, in the Northern American continent. Proso millet. So they remove the husk very easily. That is easily amenable for dehulling. So they all use the words dehulled millet. And dehusking is actually a process called hulling. Hullers they are called. No, actually hulling is actually once you remove the husk, you blow a lot of air and the whole thing gets dehulled. So that is the whole process. Dehusking and removing the husk that is already to be thrown is called hulling.
So that is okay to eat? Those millets are okay?
Yeah.
The other kind is pearled millets is what.
Pearled. So that was my next question. So then what is pearled millets?
Pearled millet, actually this is a confusion. Pearl millet is a kind of millet, okay? But when you polish them, especially some millets look like pearls, shining. So the word pearl is, there are two different words. Pearl is like your pearls, you have pearls which are shining and beautiful. So a millet made to look like a pearl is called pearl. So you can have proso millet which looks like pearl. So what they do is basically they apply little oil or some chemical to make it look shiny. That's called pearl millet. But there is a pearl millet, P-E-A-R-L millet, which is a particular called in Hindi bajra. It is called bajra. It's a particular millet. So don't get confused.
Okay.
Last question, Dr. Garu, could you kindly let us know for those major 5-6 ailments, what are the right millets to use, please?
Can we, Dr. Khader, can we come? I know you also, it's 5:44. There are like few people who have been trying to reach you and who've been waiting very patiently. Could you please, can I present their questions to you?
Yeah.
So Shashi Rekha, can you please go ahead and ask?
Namaskara, Khader sir. I'm really
Namaskar.
honored and grateful to you, sir. Somebody sent me your video, and from that I have seen several videos of yours. But I have one question, sir. One is, when we do Ambali every day, there is we are only 2 people, but the amount I make is left over. Is it okay if I leave it outside and have it second, third day, or I have to keep it in a fridge? Or that's a question, kind of.
It's a practical question when the families shrink into 1 and 2.
So
no, sorry for my
No, no,
You
no,
are-
no,
you-
no, because
I'm trying to laugh at our. See, we are becoming centralized small families, and these are the funny problems you face. Imagine there are 5 to 8 people in the house. There is nothing. Your question doesn't arise.
no,
Yeah,
sir, because the thing is like if I leave it outside, say second day, the more it gets fermented, is it okay? Or like,
Yeah. There is a thin line wherein
Okay.
other unwanted bacterial processes start. So you should be able to recognize the smell.
okay,
And if as long as that smell doesn't come,
okay,
you can have it, and
Okay.
nothing happens. And just beginning also okay, you can eat. So depends on the place where you are. In fact, in our place, you go to Vijayawada, within 5 hours everything has to be consumed because it
No,
becomes
sir, right.
yeah
Yeah. Right now I'm in New Jersey. It's kind of very cold out
yeah
here.
cold. So I don't
So-
think there is any up to 24 to 48 hours you will have no problem in that cold
Okay.
places.
Okay.
And most of American houses, they maintain around 23 24 degrees. Am I right? Your
Correct.
central
Yes.
so with that particular temperature you can keep very safely for 36 to 48 hours.
Okay.
So
Thank
after
you, sir.
that, I personally believe you should throw away. Don't keep it in the fridge. When you keep things in the fridge, what happens? The
Mhm.
microbes get into lower activities. So you want to consume, you have to again keep it back. So you are creating the cycles of the microbes are being disturbed by temperature variations. So you in America you have incubators, so you can keep your porridge pot in that particular place and maintain 22 23 48 hours you are good to go.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate. Thanks a lot. Big help.
There is a person who wants to know if it's possible to regenerate the cartilage that is impacted by osteoarthritis in multiple joints of the body.
Yes, answer is yes.
Yes. And how?
And follow the protocol, it is there.
Yes. So which protocol should he follow for the joints?
Oh, right now we have updated the protocol. There are 105, so I don't have it on my hand. You just have to go through that. I have sent you the protocol list.
Okay.
And
so
Any
updated protocols you have, you just check for the joints and pains. There is-
Okay.
Dr. Kadar, do you have any, there are lot of women who are going through this perimenopause, menopause stages. Do you have any protocol for that?
Absolutely. You look for a protocol, the hormone imbalance. You will get all the details, what you should do, should not.
And there's a new condition. I don't know if you have heard about this. It's called fibromyalgia. When the doctors
Yeah,
do not
they-
any problem with anything. So do you have
No,
any?
it's not new condition. It is just the term is they keep on naming things. No, absolutely no problem. You can you have it covered in the protocols. Absolutely no problem. Fibromyalgia, nothing to worry. You can follow the nerves protocol. Yeah.
There is this person. She says that she's been trying to reach you for the last 3 years, and someone in the family has liver parenchymal, and the sugar is 462. Platelets are low. Hemoglobin is also a little low, and bilirubin is 2, which is high, and alkaline phosphate is 349, which is very high. The normal apparently is 35.
Yeah, there is a protocol in the serious liver protocol. Just ask her to follow the liver protocol. All the problems will set right.
Okay, because the symptoms, she's listed the symptoms. Can I read them?
I understand. Yeah, no, I know what she's getting.
He has normocentric, thing.
Yeah, no problem. See, once the 349, the liver functional tests are not right, everything will fall into that protocol. She can go through that. Absolutely no problem. Yeah, SGOT, SGPT are high. Yeah, liver.
He's not able to walk and hold a pen also, sir. That's the problem.
I understand. You follow the liver protocol. Yeah, I mean, she's getting into cirrhotic conditions. They are called cirrhotic conditions. Yeah.
Oh, no,
Uh,
what is normocentric, normochromic?
That is with reference to the blood cells. So don't worry about it.
Okay, but it's leading to the liver cirrhosis?
Yeah, liver. See, once you have SGOT, SGPT disturbed,
Okay.
it is paramount important thing is that you have to correct that first, because it is the liver which takes care of all this stuff. So please follow the liver protocol.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, and this question, this will probably be the last. I'm sure. It's almost close to 6 now, Dr. Kader. We are taking your time.
No, I have to start my day.
Yes, I know. So we'll end. So we even though it wasn't the way but we've covered still a lot of good ground, and I'm sure lots of people have been helped. So any conversation with you is good. So there is this question about replacing baking powder, baking soda, and vinegar during baking. So can you mute yourself, please, if you're not talking? Are there replacements for baking powder, baking soda, and vinegar for baking?
Actually, yeah. Basically, I being an Indian, South Indian, I don't bake. So
she's Indian. This lady who's asking. I don't know.
I know you are all Americanized fellows.
Okay, so the next one is pregnant and nursing mothers are advised.
No, yeah, let me answer your question. You have to use curds. If you use curds, you can avoid the baking soda and all that. And also, it will help you to have banana. Banana also helps you to make things just like so. People don't mind little sweet and banana flavor. You are helped a lot in removing that. And vinegar is absolutely can be replaced by lemon juice or various kinds of sour acids that you have. You can in fact just take tomato juice, filter it, make it thin and use it. Acetic acid is vinegar. So, and people have so-called cider from apple, this and that. And so vinegar per se is artificial. You can use ciders if you are wanting to be natural. There also you get vinegar. So don't use vinegar per se. You can use ciders. I mean, a lot of alternatives are there in your market. Of course, all your market is flooded with plastic. Try to get out of plastic first.
We have to. That's why this whole sustainability includes not just food. It includes It includes gardening, growing food, growing all kinds of things. So the other question is: pregnant and nursing mothers are advised to take DHA tablets on omega-3. So anything else?
No,
what are the foods to be taken instead?
The same foods, khamir and good amount of sunbathing. Sunbathing is very important for the babies and the lactating mothers, because lactation depends on these three factors: vitamin B, vitamin D, vitamin C. See, these three I keep mentioning because many instances of human existence requires this wonderful balance of these three units in the body. These are fantastic combination. Others are also required. I'm not saying they are not required, but these are central to many of the biochemical functions that people have to understand. So sit in the sun. Please reach. Sun is free. Sun is free. Don't complicate your lives. Don't complicate your lives. Please sit in the sun. Northern hemisphere between 10:30 to 1 o'clock you can, because never sun is harsh there. In tropical and subtropical countries, please seek the sun in the early morning and evenings. Very simple, very simple. Don't go out in tropical and subtropical countries in the afternoons. It is dangerous, not good for anyone. Okay, so this is simple as that. Have I answered your question?
Yes, I'm asking for somebody, so it's
that's what. So sitting in the sun is the best answer for all that people, menopause, this and that. So sun is very important.
And
that's what we call Surya Namaskara. You know, we have yogasana, 7 steps
you
of
mentioned,
Surya
you
Namaskara.
mentioned in your talk today that there is a right posture to get to maximize the sun. What is the posture? Surya Namaskar, that asana or some other posture?
Yeah, that same, the 7 postures, you know, to get to Surya Namaskar, you know, the body gets primed. Yeah.
Okay. To do Surya Namaskar itself.
Yes, yes. 7 steps of the body movements, you know. It's not, Surya Namaskara is not one posture. It is 7 steps. Some people actually divide it into 12 steps. Yeah. So, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Dr. Kader, sorry, real quick, can you clarify about the sun that you just said about US and India, and you talk about Ochre sun and things like that. So could you just clarify?
Yeah, ochre sun, OCHRE. Yeah, that particular color of orange color, that's what we call in India. It's kashaya. In fact, a lot of cultural things are connected to that because, I mean, I don't want to dwell into the cultural aspects, and people mistake me. I'm talking religion. No, it is nothing to do with religion. The ochre color has actually the combination of 7 frequencies, basically. So those wonderful set of frequencies of the light is supposed to actually initiate the circadian cycle and steroidal metabolism. Corticosteroid metabolism is connected to that directly. So when the steroids fall in place, the amount and the balance, your body is at peak of your functionality. And that's why the Surya Namaskara is so important in Indian subcontinent cultural aspects, because you are actually, I mean, we also pray God, you know, there are a lot of things about sun, and, you know, it is not only that sun gives the food for the planet through photosynthesis, but each and every individual living thing on this planet is initiated into the right biochemical and physiological process by looking at that particular 7. That's what is called 7. In fact, Chavi asked me, what is this 7 about? It is that 7 horses. I mean, there is a story. For everything, there is a story in Indian continent. So there are 7 horses, and there is a fellow who runs the chariot called Aruna. Aruna is that color, you know, that it's not the red. It is that reddish and yellowish in that mix, and it is called yogic color. It is called yogic color. That's why our sadhus and all wear that orange color dress, you know. I don't know whether people are aware of it. Many Swamijis are also not aware of it. They wear this ochre color clothes, and the clothes are not important. No, they are all just symbolic. But then if you want to, yeah.
Sorry, I was saying that's fascinating to hear. I was just not clear when you said for the US folks, you want them to be outside in the middle of the day, but for India, it's in the morning and evening. That's the part I'm confused about.
Absolutely. And if you actually, even if you are in US or even Ireland and Canada, if you can catch the sun when that orange color is there, you are the luckiest fellow. Yeah.
Oh yes, we do. We do catch it every day.
Please do. That's what I'm trying to communicate.
And we do Surya Namaskar in the morning also.
Yeah, please. No. The problem with America, Northern Hemisphere, is the times are very varied. Whereas in India, it is just fixed to half an hour to 45 minutes. And that is the luxury we have, because we know it is this time. But in America, it's not fixed. You know, it keeps varying. The sunrise and sunset are very different. I mean, and
it is so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Thank you so much. That clarifies so much. Thank you.
Ochre sun. Why don't we get to know about it the first lesson in school? Get the ochre sun.
Yeah, that's what. In fact, I have been telling in all my lectures to all these so-called politicians, why don't you introduce that as the most important thing? You know,
I think the health needs to be changed, revised, the syllabus. children's by whatever they study in school.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, everyone should take this 2 years and then Gunjilu. All these things have to be introduced.
I'm adding this to my practice from tomorrow, doing this every morning.
Ms. Chala, they don't even tell that the sesame has more calcium than milk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I meant by
I have
bias.
written this down. Dr. Kader, I wrote this down, this question which she just pointed out. Calcium. If you look for calcium online, sesame seed is not even mentioned in the food sources of calcium.
And that's what I said, bias of the Western science. I mean, are they scientific in doing that?
And there is a dispute as to how much calcium we should have in a day. Some say 1,000, some say 700 mg. They don't even know how much we need. How much should we, and that also supplement form, right? Supplement.
Yeah, supplemental.
How much should we
see
having?
all this googling for the nutritional facts is actually a foolish thing to do.
How much calcium is like, should we be just go with like what you have said, sesame, like 100 to 150 to 100 grams per week?
Yeah, per week. That's the amount. Because this is by practice we have found bones are strong. That fellows can climb Chamundi 5 times a day, no problem.
I have a quick question, sir, regarding the omega-3 fatty acids. They say it's there only in the walnuts, but in the protocol, no nuts to be eaten. So, where we can get the omega-3?
No. You can eat nuts. I'm not saying don't eat nuts. You eat local nuts, unprocessed nuts. We eat ground nuts happily here.
Yeah, omega-3, it's only found in the walnuts, or it's?
No. Absolutely not. It is there in many places.
Okay.
And if it is not present, our body will make it. Don't worry.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Abhijit, can you kindly post on the chat the multiple protocol links so that everybody can benefit out of, please? All the protocols.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I've been actually sending them out through the WhatsApp group. So if you email me, I can put you in the WhatsApp group, and all the protocols, whenever I get, I'll send them. I keep sending them out in the group.
No,
That helps.
Chavi, you have already got some Facebook, I believe. You can put it in that. People can.
Yes, I have made a Facebook group. Thank you, Dr. Kader. Actually, I wanted to mention that. So if people can, if you're on the group, I can send you the link, and then you can join and get all the information.
So will you please allow me to go back to my day?
Yes. One more question.
Final question, sir. When will we have a Kader equivalent in US who can tell us what are the equivalent leaves we should be using? That is the need of the hour, sir. To be honest, that is the need of the hour.
I agree.
Yeah, I will send Dr. Sarala if you all. She will.
That should be so awesome, sir. That should be awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
You can do research on the local stuff available and can guide people.
Personally, I'm not inclined to come back to America, so maybe I should ask her. I don't know whether my daughter is interested, but I will ask her.
So you both have to come.
Thank you.
We did not meet you the last time, so we want to meet you now.
Thank you very much.
Hi, this is Suman. Please subscribe to GNN. Enjoy.